So long as you know me, I will always exist.
What if I told you that Righteous Fire exists in Path of Exile 2 with about 10 times the damage, but it's also maybe 10 times more awkward to play? So I came across this Reddit post and I was inspired to take it in a slightly different direction. The core interaction going on is self-ignite and proliferation, using the new node on the tree, self-immolation. This basically makes you ignite yourself anytime you ignite anything else, and then we also use Crackle Creep, a ring which allows your ignites to spread, but this ring also works with self-proliferation. So basically you are being ignited every single time you ignite something else. You're walking around with this ignite, and then if you stay within range of an enemy for 1 second, the ignite that's on you will apply to other monsters. Now the thing about this is that if you take 100% reduced ignite magnitude on you, on this tree, it'll make sure that you actually take no damage from these ignites. Now in terms of how I scale the damage, Plasma Blast is insanely powerful. It has no awkward conditions other than, being really slow to use. It's not like Snipe's Freeze or Hammer of the Gods. Ignite also benefits disproportionately from critical hits. The last patch, Tangle Tongue spoke for the entire crit spear meta. That's not as good this patch, but Garrod Khan's Resolve, a lineage support, gives that ability to any attack. It lets you double your critical strike multiplier basically as long as you're crit capped, that sort of bifurcate thing. Now I only attack 1 time, so the downside of that gem, where you have to travel 20 meters between each attack, is totally negligible. I'm also using a dot-based attack that lasts for a long time. Now Infernalist makes all damage ignite, so then I can ignite with the lightning, cold fire, whatever my Plasma Blast decides to be. And then Black Flame, the ring, doesn't exactly convert the damage to chaos, but allows enemies to take chaos damage instead of, that sort of, I guess it would be fire damage in this case. That's a particularly good thing for 2 reasons. Firstly, most enemies tend to have lower chaos resistance than elemental resistance. Secondly, it also lets you do wither application. Finally, I use an offhand Scythe Spear to aggravate my ignite, giving just, literally double ignite damage. The playstyle is a little bit awkward. In some sense, it is a pure walking simulator. Once I use my initial cast, I can just walk through the map, stand close to enemies. However, you do need to be beside them, within that 1.5 radius for 1 second for ignite to proliferate. Once you kill one monster, it tends to spread pretty well. And there is only really one thing to do in terms of making this a bit better, and that's with generic area of effect stacking. That's why the Reddit post I was looking at played as an Abyssal Lich. It was still kind of awkward and I felt like the sacrifice was way too large. Instead for me, I used Bear Talismans, I took a little bit of AoE on the tree, but it still got that kind of core issue. But what else? I mean, this build is still really early on. It's, kind of like the early day 1 of this. I only have 2 of my labs done. But really, I'm just trying to see if there's different ways to solve the clear and make it a little bit better, because I don't think Contagion with Unearth worked. And really, I'm just coping or hoping that GG finally removes that 1 second delay on Ignite Proliferation. I mean, like why,